Those three foxes, they're very much our babies. As soon as we would arrive, they make this funny little noise. They will climb on me so that I can scratch their head. Or they'll try to lick my face. It's very much like cuddling a dog or a cat that comes to you. But I never thought I would become a fox mom. Those three baby foxes were found when they were very little. They were 1 week old. Two people that were walking by a field that found them there. They were very tiny, her eyes were still shut. Unfortunately, their mom never came, so they took them to a vet care centre. They were very dehydrated, so potentially they didn't have milk for a few hours or days. So quite a lot of work had to be done in order for them to recover and get in better health. We are a wildlife sanctuary, so we rescue and welcome animals that need a place to live because they either can't be released or they come from animal trafficking. When you rescue babies at that age and they open eyes on humans, usually they get very close to people because they had to bottle feed them and etc. And as soon as they realized that the baby fox couldn't be released, they arrived in our sanctuary. Baby foxes was the first time for us, and it was very interesting. So we had a lot of things to learn from them as well. We would sit there and just let them do their things. They're in the same family as dogs, but they are much faster. They are very, very sharp, and they are a bit like cats as well. But we weren't afraid to look after them. We knew we would take care of them properly. Laka and Russell were very close very quickly, but Pelly was staying back a little bit. She was the one that was the most afraid of the three. But an interesting thing was there's something we had to manage between the three of them. At the beginning, they were growling at each other, and this is not something we wanted for the relationship between the sisters. They couldn't eat together because there was a lot of competition. I guess that comes from the fact that they've known hunger. And that was when they were being fed. So we had to work a lot with them during feeding times to ensure that they weren't fighting. Because whilst they're very small, they have very, very sharp teeth and they're very, very fast. So we couldn't feed them by hand. To start off with, we had to use Chinese chopsticks so that they wouldn't bite our hand directly, but bite the chopsticks. And we had to really slow them down with this during the eating process. And that took us a few weeks, but in the end we managed to have the three of them eating peacefully. We had to spend quality time with them and mainly ensure that we wouldn't have an argument at that time. We attached a little toy at the end of a string and we were making the toy run on the floor so they would run after it. They would play with my hair, with my clothes, trying to open my pocket. And they would smell us and then they would press their little muzzle on our legs or whatever and then climb over us. To be honest, it went very, very quickly because as soon as they understood that we were going to be with them, within a few days, they started trusting us. They would make their noise as soon as they would hear us arriving at the door. So yeah, they were very happy. Then as they grew older, the squeaks became a lot louder. I guess when you hear this for the first time, it can be quite scary because yes, they make really crazy noises. They roll on the floor, their tails wagging. That is how they welcome us. They will go on their back for me to scratch their belly, or they will climb on me so that I can scratch their head. They put their head on my neck. They would be peaceful and happy whenever we were around. And we used to spend enough time for them to be comfortable with us, but not too much that they would be dependent on us. I guess that they do consider us part of their family because, yeah, we see each other every day. And it's much like a parental bond where they've known us since they were tiny. And because they were 3, they also learned how to live together, and they also learned a real family dynamic started into this little group, which is exactly what we wanted. Little by little, we enriched their environment, and then we ended up putting them outside. We built little structures with wood so they could climb over it, they could play around. We also had a little mattress with a little basket that we put upside down, so that it was like a little den. We don't cut the grass because they love playing in the grass. We try to make the feeding time a moment where they have to think, they have to work a little bit. So we will, for example, take the chicken leg and we'll put it on top of a platform so they have to climb to get it, or we'll make them play with it. One day we bought them those dog toys where you put food in there and the dog has to scratch or open things. Literally, they were so good with this. Within a few minutes, they managed to crack it and open all little boxes. We try to renew the structures regularly so that something new always into the enclosure. We put them pieces of wood that they love scratching until there is nothing left in there. And we really adapted the environment as they grew up, because obviously you don't want them to get hurt. As they grew older, we had 3 very different personalities. Pilly, she's a bit like a princess. A little bit more shy and a bit more reserved. She actually decided I was going to be her mom, so now she only gets close to me. Laka is very funny because she adores it to be on my back. She was confident. She decided that she wanted to live on top of the roof. That was going to be her place. And Russell, still the same, still very, very bold. She was the one that was trying everything new. She wasn't afraid of anything, and she was a very big temperament. And they were troublemakers, and they still are. Every time there is something to do, they're always in there digging holes or finding a way to get beneath their little hut inside their enclosure. And also, if I go in there with my phone to make a video, very often they manage to grab my phone out of my hands and run in the enclosure with it, and I have to run after them. They're very, very playful. They are very, very determined. They're also extremely clever. Foxes don't tend to live in groups. In this case, we have the 3 sisters staying together, and literally their relationship is just perfect. We often see them playing together and also scratching each other and giving cuddles to each other. I would never imagine the foxes would be so loving and adorable. Looking at them playing together melts my heart every time. I don't know how foxes see family, but we definitely something they trust. They have changed something because we've created a very, very special bond with them. We know that they will live a happy life here, that they are happy to be together, they're happy to be with us.